Welcome, Tag Nation, to another episode of NXT.A.G. Now, I'm pretty sure y'all probably like, Scoot, what's happening? Why did you play the throwback intro? Well, it was kind of a homecoming of a sense, and that was pretty much the theme of tonight. NXT Homecoming. They went back to Full Sail after 4 years away. It's hard to believe that it's been that long since they've been at Full Sail. 4 years. To say that so much memories was had in that building, that it's been 4 years since they've been. And I say, after tonight, they should do at least 1 to 2 shows a year at Full Sail. Not only was this a good episode, I hate that they had those constraints of CW, because this episode could have easily been 3 hours. From the matches, the cameos, they opened up the show with this amazing video package to pretty much show like the history of NXT. You know, not the NXT when, you know, it was a rookie paired with a vet. No. No. Not that NXT. But from when it became a legit wrestling brand. And, you know, Seth Rollins being the first NXT champion, that NXT. And just seeing the history from then, you know, from Black and Gold up into 2.0. And it was just amazing to see. And yeah, to know like how long you've been following something and how long you've been keeping up with it. And it's crazy to see that so many faces that you may have seen in NXT that has gone on to the main roster or going on to different promotions. Unfortunately, some are not with us anymore, like Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. But just to see that history of the past to the present, and knowing that these men and women that are there now are going to be in that position of your Finns, your Charlottes, your Rusevs, Baileys, Sashas, your Blisses, your Sami Zayns, it was just a good thing to see. And they even did the throwback intro with the talent that's there now. So it was like, it was literally this. It was literally just round of applause. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do it. Play it one more time. That's what NXT gave, especially in that intro. But the show did kick off with Triple H coming out. And, you know, he was pretty much letting the people know that, hey, you know, NXT, you know, was his baby. NXT was something that, you know, he fought for, that, you know, he was trying to make sure that the men and women was going to be something and things of that nature. And then HBK comes out, you know, he's the current person that runs NXT. And then it led to basically Triple H was like, well, hey, Sean, what if I want to come back? And Sean was like, well, I guess it's going to be a problem then. Then we hear the music of one William Regal. And he was like, hey, you know, there's only one way to settle this. And of course, he yells out War Games. Now, I guess we're going to put a pin, because I think that may have been just for a show. I don't think necessarily Triple H wants NXT back per se. I don't know, because it kind of seems like NXT has a bigger problem on their hands, which I'll bring up much later in the show, because it was mentioned a lot throughout the show. But seems like they have another problem with another 3-letter brand they need to worry about other than Triple H and WWE. There's way too many 3 letters there. Way too many 3 letters. But after that, Charlotte and Bliss come out and they pretty much run down the history of the women's division. You know, the 4 horsewomen, your Shaynas, your Asukas, your Nias, and your Ios, your Rias, Biancas. You know, they was giving shout outs to the women of the past. And then it leads into our first match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. You have the not friends, they're just, you know, partners through acquaintances or something that I don't know what they call themselves, but Bliss and Charlotte take on the Cullings, Tatum, and Izzy. Pretty solid fight, pretty good fight. I mean, of course, going into this, you kind of know who was going to win. Like, I would genuinely felt bad if people were really like, "Hey, Tatum and Izzy have a true shot." Okay, but it was a good showing, especially for Tatum and Izzy going against such veterans as Charlotte and Bliss. Like, they didn't look like they were bad in the ring or sloppy in the ring or anything like that. They actually gave a good showing. They did, of course, mention the fact that Chelsea and Alba does have a tag team title shot. It's supposed to be Alba and Piper, but Piper is currently injured. So, of course, Chelsea is stepping in for her secret Harvest member. So, they do have a title shot down the line. But ultimately, Bliss and Charlotte do get the dub. I think the ending was a little weird because something was happening. The next thing you know, it just led to Bliss reversing Tatum, hitting the Sister Abigail DDT, and it was like, wait, I feel like I missed something there. But that was the end of the fight. Then we get a segment backstage where it was Aruka. They was pretty much talking, saying that, yeah, that could have been us in that match if you didn't decide to hit me with a soul snatcher. And Soul was like, "Oh, so what you wanted me to do? You wanted me to stop myself mid flip?" She was like, "I don't say anything when you caught me with many spears." And then Laney Reed kind of comes up there and was like, "Look, I don't care. Just know I'm beating Candice LeRae next week, so I can fight you in No Mercy for that Speed Championship, so I can get that belt up off you." Candice LeRae shows up and was like, "Laney, girl, please, I'm about to get my Speed Championship back." And then in steps one, Shayna Baszler. And Shayna basically tells Aruka, "Hey, I've had many tag partners. I have many that I won championships with. Whatever y'all two are doing, just apologize and make up. It's not worth it." And she left him with that. It was good seeing Shayna back on the brand that made her a star. And I said what I said. I meant that. 3-time NXT Women's Champion. I'm just saying. Then we get to our next match. You got as you can see in the graphic, you got the TMG, the Trick Mellow Gang, were reunited going against DIY. And once again, it was good. You know, Tommaso coming out to his theme, Johnny coming out to Rebel Heart. You know, it was good seeing Mello lacing it up for NXT again, and pretty solid match. Like, you would have never thought Trick and Mello had a tiff kind of thing. And then, even though, of course, it was brought up about, somebody did say that this was the match of backstabbing tag partners or something like that. But but nonetheless, it was still a good tag match. It was just seeing DIY like it's not saying DIY is bad on SmackDown, but just seeing them in their NXT element, it's just like, wow, like these guys were really holding down NXT at one point. Like Gargano and Ciampa were really holding down NXT, especially after, you know, your Finns and Samoa Joes and Baron Corbins and all of those got called. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, all of them got called up. it was like, these guys held it down along with like Shinsuke and Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre's and Aleister Blacks. That just lets you know how long I've been watching this, because I'm just rounding this stuff off in generations, by the way. But ultimately, The Miz comes out, hits Johnny Gargano with a skull crushing finale. Mello hits nothing but net. 1, 2, 3. Trick Mello gang gets the dub. So yeah, thanks to some, as Jaeger would say it, some distractions, interference, and confusion, Trick Mello gang gets the dub. And there we go with that. Then we get a segment where Sami Zayn was talking to, I think it's Sarah Schreiber. I think it was Sarah Schreiber. And he was pretty much saying that, it was good being back in NXT. This is the building I won the NXT championship in. And, there's a certain young man that I know, because I even talked to Ava about it, that's been I heard who was kind of like me, and he was talking about Javon. But then, of course, Josh Briggs shows up and was like, I don't know what you're talking about Javon for. Need to be talking about me. And then and then Evans comes out, minor scuffle. And then Sammy has a passionate, some passionate words for Javon Evans. Basically, don't give up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta aim for the stars. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do this, Javon. So, hey, we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Javon will get that big one soon enough. Then we get to our next match, was for the North American Championship. You got All Ego Ethan Page defending against Tyler Breeze, aka Prince Pretty. And I know it's been a while since we seen Tyler Breeze in NXT. I think it was like 2021 or 2022. One of the times when he was there. Tyler Breeze still looks good in the ring. Now, I don't know if he was here strictly just for Homecoming, or he may still have some dealings and doings in NXT afterwards. But I was not mad at Tyler Breeze, and especially seeing him back in the Prince Pretty gimmick, because even then he was announced from having his residence in the Galapagos Islands. Because if you remember, anytime for like a certain period, anytime he was announced, he had all these different residences in these crazy lavish areas. So this time he was residing from the Galapagos Islands, so, but yeah, it was good seeing the supermodel kick, the beauty shot, all of that. But ultimately, Ethan Page does get the dub. I mean, he hit a draping twisted grin from the top rope to get Prince Pretty down and out. But yes, it was really good seeing Tyler Breeze. So I hope this leads to something. Either he's backstage, or he kind of has appearances here and there. I don't mind. Personally speaking, I don't mind. Then after their match, we get as soon as the match ended, we see Tavion back there watching the monitors, and he's upset, like, "Ooh, I'm going to get Ethan Page." And then in comes Damian Priest, and he was like, "Hey, I've been in your shoes before, man. I know exactly how you feeling, what you going through. I remember when I got my awakening, when I took on Finn Balor. After that, I eventually became North American champion." And he said, "I have the infamous picture of me, taking a photo in the hot tub." So he was like, "I did talk to Ava, and at No Mercy, it's going to be you versus Ethan Page for that North American championship." So I guess we'll see. If this is the moment, if Tavion will get that belt off of Page or not. We shall see. Then we get to the Grayson Waller effect with Obafemi and Ricky Saints. They are opponents at No Mercy for the NXT championship. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I forget how irritating Grayson Waller can be, especially when he's the only one kind of talking. Like when he doesn't have people to kind of bounce off of. because he had to introduce everything, and it was like, this is the first time I heard you say this many words, and shut the fuck up. Yeah, it kind of felt that way. I'm sorry. Yeah, as just as harsh as that can be, it was like, shut up. But of course, it led to Saints and Over trading bars, and Trick Willie comes out, and he's pretty much like, "Hey, you, the NXT Championship is still mine, fam. Like, I still want that championship back," type energy, and pretty much it led to Grayson Waller saying, "Well, how about this? Obafemi takes on Trick Willie, title for title, and then that winner takes on Ricky Saints." Newsflash, it does get officially made. So next week on NXT, we're going to get Trick Willie versus Obafemi, winner take all. And remember what I mentioned earlier about the other three letters? So throughout the program, Vic Joseph was making mention that TNA wrestlers was all on Instagram and X or Twitter saying, "Hey, this is downright disrespectful and disgusting that this is happening to the TNA championship, and we weren't even invited to Homecoming. There will be pretty much hell to pay in this, that, and the third." So interesting development. But we do get a segment with NQCC. It's just Ren and Charlie, and Charlie was like, "No, we're fine, Ren. All we have to do is just kind of refocus. But I gotta go to Japan for a month, so I need you to kind of hold things down." And she was like, and he was saying, "Don't do anything that I won't do." And then she sees Bobby Roode. He comes up. He does the glorious once again, only because it's been a while since I personally heard the song. What a banger Glorious Domination was. What a banger of an entrance that Bobby Roode had. The presentation, the look. Bobby still looks phenomenal. Fantastic. I know he's been a producer and everything, but Bobby Roode looks amazing. And I totally forgot how glorious Domination was. Just hearing the glorious was like, I remember that time. I remember that time of hearing that music. But yeah, then of course she said his name and he appeared. Here comes Joe Hendry. So Joe Hendry and Bobby Roode had a moment because Bobby Roode was like, "Yeah, seeing you come out at WrestleMania with the TNA championship, especially me being a former TNA champion, was something to see." And Bobby Roode said something that I feel like I missed, because Joe Hendry has been showing up on NXT lately, and Bobby Roode did tell Joe Hendry, "Now that you're in NXT, you need to win that NXT championship." And I literally was like, "Wait, when did Joe Hendry come to NXT? Is his contract with, huh?" So I don't know. Then Lexis King comes out and he was like, "You can't have an NXT championship. Sorry, an NXT Homecoming without the King, and that he should be respected." He didn't appreciate the fact that what Miles did to him last week by beating him up in the locker room with the lights out. So pretty much next week they're gonna have a lights out match. Lexis King and Miles Bourne. Then the lights go out and out comes the Prince, Finn Balor. Y'all, Finn did thing. If you watch NXT, if you're a long-time Finn fan, you know what I'm talking about when I say that Finn did the thing. He did the arm thing with the music. Like, he didn't come out to his Judgment Day remix. he came out to the original Finn Balor theme. And he did the thing with the arms and everything. And he even said, "Oh my God, this feels good. It feels good." Like you can see him mouthing, like, "This feels good." Like he did the thing with the arms and stuff. Then it led to basically him distracting Lexus to where Miles Bourne got some offense in, and then Finn hit the coup de grace, and boy, he stuck the landing. Like he stuck the landing in Lexus King's stomach area. It was like Jesus. Then Finn and Miles kind of celebrate. We get a Dark State segment, and Montez comes out. Montez is basically talking to them, saying, "Hey, pretty much y'all running as a group. You stay as a group. At least you know where your partner is at, because I don't know where mine's is at." And he was like, "Yeah, y'all got some targets on them big backs of y'all's." And then Cutler was about to say something crazy, and they was like, "Hey, interview over," kind of situation. Then they show Bianca sitting in the audience. She's still not back yet. I don't know if her finger is fine, or is it just just giving her some extended time to just kind of rest, relax. So I'm pretty sure whenever they bring in the EST, it's about to be something major. So there's that. Then we get to our main event. Now it did change up. It was supposed to be Tiffany Stratton, but due to the match she had with Jade, and of course the attack from Nia, she wasn't medically cleared, so she was replaced with Lyra. So it was still 3 former NXT champions, with Lyra, Rhea, and Stephanie taking on Fatal Influence. And it was a match. Once again, hold on, let me hit this applause-o-meter. One more time. It was a match. It wasn't nothing to be just, I don't want to say in awe, but it was a pretty solid match. It was a pretty good match for the fact that, the quote unquote NXT legends, in essence, was going to take the dub. Now, there was a part that I'm pretty sure made Booker T just the happiest, because it's been a while since he has got to do it. But Stephanie and Rhea proceeds to hit the double devil's kiss, but they point to Book, and of course Booker T, along with the NXT audience, hitting the because I don't know why every time she does the shit on Raw, everybody starts counting. You don't count when Stephanie does the devil's kiss. You make the sound effect. Get it together, WWE. NXT knows what it's about. Get it together, Raw. Figure it out. Act like y'all been here. But the team of Lyra, Rhea, and Stephanie does get the dub, because JC was kind of just trying to run. Lola was there. Lola hit her with the back fist. JC stumbles back in the ring. She takes a riptide. Boom. The 4 ladies celebrate while the other 3 ladies are on the outside. JC is holding that championship tight dearly, because she is taking on Lola Vice at No Mercy. And the show ends with Oba and Trick having a face-off in Ava's office. Stevie Turner, Robert Stone, and William Regal was in the back. And, she's pretty much kind of looking over all of these threats and things. And I think it's going to be some type of NXT versus TNA war. I think that's what it's leading to. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if it leads up into War Games. Oh, no, I forgot War Games belongs to WWE now. They got to figure something out. But it's definitely going to be a NXT NXT TNA battle. It's going down next week. So I don't think Oba and Trick is going to have a conclusive winner. I think it's going to end in shenanigans, which still keeps Trick with the championship. Oba keeps his championship, and he defends against Saints at No Mercy. But we are definitely getting a 100% TNA NXT crossover. Like, that's happening. That's going down. But yeah, I'm just happy at the fact that NXT Homecoming delivered. I'm pretty sure they wish they had like another hour, because I'm pretty sure they could have got more people to show up. A couple of more matches could happen, but for the most part, what was presented, what was given to us, was still good. With the T at the end, it was good. But thank y'all for tuning in, and whether you loved it or hated it, don't forget to rate it thumbs up, thumbs down, like, share, comment. Let us know down below if y'all have any favorite NXT moments or NXT superstars. If you hadn't already, make sure you subscribe. And if you hadn't already, make sure you tag that notification bell. Shout out to the rest of the Tag brethren. Shout out to y'all in the Tag Nation. Love one another. Love yourself. Take care of one another and take care of yourself. And until next time, you beautiful, beautiful people out there, don't forget to tag out. Peace.
T.A.G.
Tag, very nice, very evil. Yeah, that's tag shit.
Free fall as I die through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really